All right. Well, how's everybody doing out there? Sweating a little? It's called glistening. You'll get used to it. All right. So let's dive in. I know everybody's talking about AI up and down the croissant today, but we do have kind of a different spin on this take. And it's really, how is this coming into your creativity flows? And how is this affecting creative ideation, creative work, and creative teams? So that's what we're going to be talking about here today. So let's start with just quick intros from the panel. We can go one by one and just share quickly kind of who you are, where you work. We don't need long-winded explanations, guys. And maybe just also how many cans this is for you, how many times you've been here. So why don't you kick us off?
Hi, everyone. I'm Faizan. I'm the CEO of Roll.AI. This is my second time here. And I run a company called Roll.AI, which helps you produce videos of real people with their real voice. The videos that we have always been making for the last 30 years, panels, customer testimonials, street interviews, product demos. It's just that when you're looking at it, it looks like it's being shot with iPhones. When you look at the final result, it looks like we spent $100,000 on it. There are agents on the phone thinking about how to edit the video as it is being shot. The content syncs to the cloud, NVIDIA GPUs pick it up, and they make it look like not an iPhone. They make it sound not like an iPhone. And then they also edit the video. So for example, customers like Google and Adobe sometimes at their annual events shoots hundreds of videos a day and get them edited by the next morning.
Hi, I'm Gina Igwe. I lead the brand, creative, and the consumer marketing teams at DoorDash. This is my second can as well. I sit at the intersection of brand and performance, and so you'll hear a lot from me on this panel about how those two worlds are coming together, especially in the current environment we're in.
Hi, I'm Jess Rosenberg. I lead brand and creative at a company called AirOps. We help brands get seen and cited in AI search. So when you're looking for something in ChatGPT, like best running shoes to run a marathon, hopefully your brand shows up first, and we help teams scale content to achieve that. I am what you would call, I don't know if, actually raise your hand if you have heard this term today or through Can yet. AI pilled. AI pilled? Yeah. It's someone who's obsessed with AI and marrying AI with creative and just being able to do extraordinary things. So I'm really excited to talk about that some more.
I'm Jethro, Rothe-Kushel, founder and CEO of RitualAds. So we have the world's leading creative engine. So it's a disruptive technology team, taste and talent that radically transforms how commercials are made for major brands. We did Reebok's largest campaign launch for WNBA basketball player Angel Reese, Shopify with Martha Stewart, and we're doing more and more. So we're a startup, but super AI native, and I'm one of those people you're talking about right there. Second can.
I love it. Great to see everybody. I'm Brandon Lentino. I'm the Chief Creative Officer of Viral Nation. We are the world's leading global social media marketing company, connecting the world's biggest brands and creators through intelligence, a lot of which is powered by AI. So you'll hear me talk a lot about that today, really thinking about how we can make the entire social and creator economy smarter by utilizing AI intelligence to really think about how you're hitting both the heart and science of every major social algorithm with intelligent creative and creator partnerships.
Awesome. So Gina, we're going to start with you. Now, you mentioned a little bit that you come from the world of both brand and performance marketing. And historically, those two functions have often had to kind of fight for resources. So does AI help to make that better, or does that make it even more of a challenge?
I'm sure this will be I would love to hear from others on this panel after I give my answer, because I think that's an interesting debate. I mean, my perspective is that it brings them closer together. I sit across both of them as well. So that's part of the reason I'm hoping that they get closer together. But the other reason is that performance has always been like a quick twitch muscle for the business, right? It's the thing that gets the immediate result. Brand is traditionally the thing that takes much longer to see, to measure, to feel, and is a longer range metric you look across. That still is true. But I think with the environment we're in today, you pull the brand work potentially closer to that quick twitch muscle, in addition to always continuing to build for the long term. So I'll give you a real life example of something that we used AI for at DoorDash during the Super Bowl. So the Super Bowl this year, we decided to not forgo a spot, right? 3 years we had a traditional Super Bowl spot. And this year we thought, well, why don't we do something a little different? And some of that was business decision. It wasn't budget driven, but it was mostly around how do we want to be part of the conversation in that moment? And we realized that social was where the conversation was happening around Super Bowl, not just in the spots, but like in the feed. And so we launched a campaign with 50 Cent, for those of you who saw, I hope you enjoyed it, and went out with a different angle on the Super Bowl. And we didn't necessarily use AI for that creation, but what we did use AI for was responding in the moment to what consumers, how they were reacting to our campaign. And so we saw the social team using it a lot to mock up designs for like gift cards that we ended up putting in the app that had 50 Cent on them because it was catching fire on social. And we wanted to integrate it more from a performance standpoint into the app to drive orders for DoorDash. So that was an example. There's some stuff we did with AI during Bad Bunny's halftime show as well, to just kind of spur conversation and be part of the conversation. So I would say they're coming closer together more than ever, and hopefully making brand moments commercial moments, and commercial moments brand moments more, because of how quick we're able to move at the speed of culture.
Yeah.
And shout out to you guys. That was a great Super Bowl campaign.
Thank you.
Yeah, you've got beef.
The beef. It was so good. It was so well done.
So, Jess, tell me, from a B2B angle, do you feel that same kind of optimism that brand and demand is coming closer together because of AI?
1,000%. So I lead a really small and scrappy team, and our growth team and performance teams are super small and scrappy too. The way I like to put it is that brand and creative are the fuel, and growth and performance are the engine. And if the engine is deploying campaigns on their own without the fuel, maybe they'll see some traction, but likely your CAC is going to be, super high. It's not going to perform as well. The fuel of the creative and the, ingenuity that feeds into the growth channels, that's where it really empowers the spend that you're putting behind these campaigns. And on my team, we leverage AI for a variety of things. We did our first brand campaign ever earlier in the year, where my team and I literally vibe coded an interactive quiz that thousands of marketers ended up taking. We had Claude Code, Wire, all of it through HubSpot via a form, all of the respondents fed through a Slack channel that served our sales team, that they could go and immediately know who was submitting and reached back out to them. And then we did a pretty weird video campaign that we ran on CTV, which is a highly measurable channel for us. And so all in all, that campaign with 2 creatives, 2 growth people, Claude Code, and a bunch of AI wiring generated $2 million in pipeline for us.
That's amazing.
And we got it done in 4 weeks.
Yeah. Wow.
Wow.
All right. So let's shift to the creator conversation a little bit, Brandon. So from the creator perspective, your industry has spent 10 years teaching marketers that authenticity is really what matters most to consumers. And now with AI, content can happen immediately, but the authenticity can often be lacking. So how are you helping brands to avoid becoming more proficient but less human?
Yeah, it's a great question. And I think, I said it in my intro, right? Especially for social, our editor-in-chief that we have to respond to as creatives is the algorithm, right? And the algorithm is 1/2 heart, 1/2 science. You still need that creative spark. You need people, you need thoughts, you need big ideas. I still firmly believe in the way that we run the creative unit inside Viral for all of our brand clients is that's still where the spark is going to happen. But you need the science side of hitting the algorithm effectively as well. And for us, that's really where AI comes into play. So we've spent about the last 10 years building the largest data set. We own the largest social data set outside of the platforms themselves. And that's really used to funnel Social AI, which is our in-house intelligence platform. And Social AI for a creative team really allows creatives to do 2 things. One, it allows them to be smart about their creativity. So what we're not looking to do is harness or take creative jobs, but we are looking to take the abstract nature out of creativity to make sure that the content that we're creating for our clients is performance driven. So we're not taking the authenticity out of it. You still need to understand your audience. You still need to create content that's going to matter to them. We're definitely not telling our partners, fill your feeds with, generative content in a blind way. But what we are saying is, in order to most effectively reach that audience, create the assets that are going to matter most to them. Use intelligence and AI power to understand which formats matter, what are they reacting to, so that when you're putting together a content calendar, it's smart, it's performance driven from the start. And what that's going to do is that's going to show your community, one, you understand them. It's going to build authenticity because, again, in social especially, we're talking to young demographics. They're the most against inauthentic marketing. So, AI generated content, inauthentic messaging is not going to work for them. And so for us, it's really about intelligence, and then it's about production efficiencies, right? Even, Gina, you mentioned when you were thinking about designers, if we can give a designer 20, 30% of their time back by removing some of the redundant tasks that would have taken time before, that allows more time for creative exploration, more time for creative pushing of the boundaries, but all rooted in authenticity. So I think, if I were to give a salient headline, don't suddenly switch your strategy to what the AI tells me is what I need to put out. Utilize AI for smarter creativity, for more efficient creativity, so that you can actually spend more time figuring out the ways that you can be more authentic to the audiences that you're looking to reach.
So that's the message for brands. If you were shifting to your recommendations for creators, what would you say about their use of AI?
I think it's honestly the same thing, right? I think that, for a creator, for example, they are tasked with being viral every single day, right? There's creators that pop up every day right now. Right now, somebody in their college dorm room just became a TikTok star. So I actually think for them, the competitive nature of staying front of mind is what they're up against. So for me, where can AI be helpful to them? Utilize it to help be your soundboard, your creative brainstorm session, kick around ideas utilizing it, flesh out ideas utilizing it, spend less time on the ideation and more time on the creation so that you can pump out the volume of content that allows you to stay front of mind, but you're not using it to replace. I wouldn't tell any creator, only go with an idea that a ChatGPT gave you, because then you are losing your authenticity. But if you can almost use it as a bit of a creative partner and a way to really continue to learn and collaborate with you, you almost build a bit of a creative team around you without having to hire a full team.
Faizan, what do you think about that? I mean, a lot of the AI conversation is just focused on creating more content, but not necessarily more authentic content. So what do you think brands miss in that conversation about authenticity when they think about scaling content?
Yeah, I think what was just said was really important, which is people are looking for authentic content. And I think especially in the case of video, the whole industry made a mistake for a little while. The whole industry kind of assumed that we're going to have a lot of these kind of like Super Bowl ads or movies completely created by AI. While the whole industry was zigging that way, we kind of zagged the other way, and we have found customers and brands respond, which is, hey, Google has been doing customer testimonials for the last 20 years. Adobe has been doing it for the last 20 years. There are a bunch of these flows for which brands need videos. And what we said is, when we use AI, we are not replacing the authentic customer or your authentic user or his voice. What we are replacing is the production process. So instead of having 5 $200,000 cameras, we have 5 iPhones. Yep. Instead of having a truck parked outside with like an editing bay and like 12 editors in that, you have an agent on each phone, and then you have NVIDIA GPUs in the cloud. And then to our customers, being able to say something like, hey, you would wait 4 to 8 weeks after your annual event for videos. You can have them the next day.
I did have them the next day because we hired you guys.
That is crazy.
After our conference, it was honestly magical.
Yeah, so I think for us, I'm super happy. Like we work for AirOps. If you see any of the brand innovators content, the backstage videos, there are a bunch of stages being shot here. So over the last 6 months, what I've seen is that for brands, I feel like people are almost confused by the noise that we see. Like we've all seen that clip of Will Smith trying to eat noodles as being the benchmark of how good AI has become. But the problem is we don't all need Will Smith to eat noodles to win our ads, right? That's not the core problem that everybody's thinking about every day, right? The problem you're thinking about is, how do I get my customer voice out? How do I get my authentic customer voice out? So I think for brands, that's one mistake that I see. And I think the other mistake that I see is I do see people experimenting a lot. And sometimes I see almost like an analysis paralysis where people are like, I don't know what to do because I tried this thing in Claude and then I used the VO3 API and then I used Omni, but like they're all kind of like spread out. So in our case, I would say like I asked our teams this challenge where we are selling final outcome, where we go to the customer and we say, you can prompt if you want to, but you also don't need to. But we will give you the final outcome and you can give us a little bit of feedback, but it's not like you have to go learn prompting in 7 different UIs, because I think there are customers open to experimentation, but when they experiment, sometimes up the chain inside the organization, the message is, it's all confusing and AI is not ready. And no, we are not seeing a breakthrough in our efficiency gains. And I think that basically comes from being too fractured across too many engineers like myself trying 3 fractured ideas.
Yeah.
Right? And they have to make something cohesive.
And I think that's the point you hit about so many different tools. I think there's so many companies thinking right now, I have to have AI tools in my mix.
Right.
And they haven't thought through the intentionality of how those tools are used in the process. So to your point, it ends up with, well, I've got Claude, I've got Chat, but why do you have them? Which teams are using them? And how is it making that team more effective? Is I think where a lot of companies are still not thinking. And it creates a fractured process, outcomes that are sloppy or messy because there isn't that intentionality behind it all.
Yeah, Jess, how do you think about this? Because if every brand is now using the same AI tools, then what prevents every brand from looking and sounding exactly the same?
Excellent question. Happy you asked. I think there's, just to add, and then I'll segue into responding to that, but there's a really large misconception around AI tools being a magic bullet for teams, especially marketing teams.
Amen.
AI will not make things faster for you. If AI makes things faster for you, the probability of the output is likely slop. It's likely generic content, generic designs that are not authentic to your brand. They are slop. And I see a lot of that on LinkedIn. I see a lot of it out on the internet. The more time you can craft on defining the context input. So let's say you're using Claude. Who here uses Claude Desktop or ChatGPT? Okay. Have you created a project or used skills? So the more time you can invest in building skills for your brand, how you write across founder social, employee social, email copy, the more dialed in you can invest and like define those inputs, the output is going to be really strong. If you don't spend time doing that, you're like, hey, Claude, write me an email for AirOps that promotes our presence at Cannes. It will be slop and it will not sound like our brand and it will be bad.
Yeah.
So better inputs out equals stronger outputs out. And then I would also, like, something that I advise my team and others to do is that think about the most painful, time cumbersome things that exist within your week. Is it you're in back-to-back meetings? Is it mine is like my email is a dumpster fire. So I literally have an agent
That's because of all the
every
can
hour.
invites.
I have an agent every hour, that sends me emails that I've defined as important, and it texts them to me in WhatsApp because I'm like, I just can't deal with my email inbox.
Yeah.
So identifying the pains that you experience throughout your week, and then ask Claude, here's all my pains. What can we automate? What can we automate in co-work? What can we solve for together? And then how can we make, my life more efficient in the day-to-day and my team's life more efficient?
Yeah.
Can I quickly show you something? Can you just read my
Yeah. We'll just have it right now.
Same. Mine's probably worse. I've had Gmail since 2007, and it is a
Well, Jethro, you know a thing or two about AI workflows. So this is what RitualAds really focuses on, is building custom AI workflows that can create these Super Bowl caliber campaigns. Can you give us an example of what that's looked like with a client and kind of what the output is?
Yeah, so to many of your points, I think that AI, especially on the generative video side, has gotten a bad brand, right? Because everyone and anyone has access to these tools now. And what that does is it creates a lower and lower bar. So when slop becomes ubiquitous, it becomes challenging to understand, okay, how can we actually use these tools for major brands for Super Bowl caliber cinematic creative? And that's what we do at RitualAds. We create Super Bowl caliber commercials for major brands. So Reebok last year, the shoe company had a major problem in that they had already invested over $1 million. It was going to cost, they were going to have to shut down a subway station in Chicago. The only problem was it was becoming too time consuming and costly. So they called us on a Thursday. They were shooting on a Monday. We delivered a pre-visualization within minutes. And they were like, well, how'd you have time to do that? Because it looks very different when you're running it through an enterprise grade workflow versus a lot of the slop that's out there. And we were like, well, we used our creative engine. And so, we ended up engaging in a hybrid process, flew to Chicago, shot WNBA basketball player Angel Reese in front of a white psych. And what came of it was this hybrid, gorgeous commercial that actually performed better and moved the brand forward in a way that the traditional methods wouldn't have empowered. And to me, that's what's worth investing in is how do you get that level of creative? We did it again for Shopify with Martha Stewart. It's up in Times Square. And how do you get those kinds of results consistently?
All right.
I'll also quickly add, I meant to respond with this earlier and I forgot. I hope I hear more of this throughout the week, but hiring humans that have high taste and high craft expertise is still more important than ever, especially in this AI world that we're in. Because I even see with my team, I have 2 brand designers on my team and myself, and I'm still very hands-on making. The things that we're able to create with AI would not be possible unless we had the experience and the craft sensibilities that we have.
Yeah, I'll plus one on that. At RitualAds, we call it the 4 T's. So taste, talent, team, and then technology. And the technology is important as well.
The 4 T's. I love it. All right. Rapid fire. Last minute here. You don't get to editorialize on these. You just get to kind of shout out your one word answer here. So what is more important for brands over the next decade? The best AI, the best data, or the best creative?
Creative.
Creative all the way.
Anybody?
Data.
I'm glad somebody else said it. I got to go data as well.
All right. Faizan?
I'll go data too.
Okay. What is one part of the creative process that should never be delegated to AI?
Taste.
I would say creative tension and disagreement.
Tension. I heard taste from Jethro. Any others?
I think the overall brand strategy is going to always have a human element. I think you touched on it with like the insight and the tension being critical to good work. And if you don't have a person creating that,
That back and forth, right?
yeah,
That back and
it's
forth, that
the
push and pull.
iterative nature that we will always need.
Okay. Final question. Prediction. Within the next 3 years, will an AI generated ad win a Cannes Lion?
Absolutely, I think so. And I think it goes back to, it's only rapid fire, so I'm going to say yes, but I'd love to elaborate if we had time.
100%.
1000%.
Yes.
Yes, definitely. And can I echo something that Jess said, which is like when we look for marketing and look for like where we want to apply AI, there is a tendency to look at the most highly valuable task and apply it. But like somebody once said this, like look for tasks that nobody wants to do, like trying to do the laundry or the dishwasher. Whatever the equivalent of that is, start there. If you're people managers, one of the skills that I would say is listen to your team talk. And when they're talking about their task and you can pick it in their tone that they don't like doing it, that's a really good signal of use AI on that. Use AI on that.
I'll also say with the AI Cannes winner in the future, I would love if nobody knew it was AI. Like I want it to win for its creativity, not the fact that it was generated with AI.
But disclosed as AI, right?
Maybe.
Oh,
Maybe.
Hot take there. All right. That is all we have time for with this panel. Thank you guys so much. Really appreciate everybody coming.